Get inspired with the woman empowerment extraordinaire, LaMeel.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Today is Financial Freedom Friday. I am LaMeel, wealthempowerment.com. And today I have got another amazing tip on how you can increase your cash flow. And I know I talk about this a lot over on LaMeel TV and probably in some of the other Friday Financial Freedom audios. However, one of the biggest causes of debt is tax, the taxes that you pay. And so whenever I find a way for you to decrease your taxable income, I'm going to share it with you because it makes a huge difference. For example, if you're making about $60,000 a year, right? You pay approximately 30% of that, which is about $18,000 in taxes. Okay, which means your take home is only $42,000. But here you are, you've done the work, you've got the certifications, you got the degrees, you're making $60K and you're only bringing home $42. Like, it's not fair. And for those who are at $42, you're still paying 30% of your taxes. So that's over $12,000. Right? So you're making 42 and barely bringing home 30. You're bringing home like 29.4. So one of the strategies for increasing your cash flow, and this is the types of things that are taught in my income shifting membership, is that you can still make $60,000, but you want to reduce your taxable income. Right? So how are you going to reduce your taxable income? You are going to take all of the deductions that you possibly can that the IRS allows. And today I am going to show you or explain to you how to get paid for going to church. I know a lot of you go to church every Sunday. Some of you go 2 and 3 times a week because you're in the choir. You help with special events, Bible study, things like that, right? So here's a way for you to get paid going to church, and by doing this and filing for this deduction, it's going to decrease your taxable income. And when you add this strategy with other strategies, even if you're making $60,000, imagine if you only got taxed on $30,000 or $40,000 of your income. You're going to be paying a lot less in tax than you are right now. You know, there was an article out a while ago that was talking about how, I believe it was Warren Buffett, they said he pays less in taxes than his assistant or his secretary. And slightly skewed, but the truth to that is that Warren Buffett pays less tax on his income than his receptionist. Why? Because even though he has billions of dollars, all of his billions of dollars are not taxable because of the deductions that he is able to take as a business owner and owning property and other types of things like we're talking about today. Whereas his receptionist or secretary with no business is paying tax on the entire amount that she makes. So she's paying 30%, where Warren Buffett is probably paying more like 10 to 15. So, on to how to get paid for going to church. So the IRS actually pays 14 cents per mile driven in service of charitable organizations. And guess what? Your church is a service of charitable organizations. Now, I'm going to, you might have to come back if you're driving to do this research, but I'm going to explain to you step by step how you do this. So in order to verify this, because, you know, don't take my word for it, you can go to irs.gov, and if you type in I believe it is, if you type in, they actually have a standard mileage rate for 2019. If you're listening to this after that, just change the year. And they're going to give you the standard mileage rate for that year. Currently, the standard mileage rate is 14 cents per mile driven in service of a charitable organization. So now that you've confirmed that you're going to get 14 cents per mile, you want to conduct a search for a tax-exempt organization. So right there on the irs.gov site where you just search for the standard mileage rate, at the very top on the right-hand corner, there's a button, and that button says Charities and Nonprofits. Click on that. What's going to happen is there's going to be a search bar there. Now, occasionally they're updating it, and if you don't see it or if it tells you that it's not active, there is another link to the right side in that right-hand column that allows you to search for charitable organizations. So you could do it either way. However, as long as everything's functional, when you click on charities and nonprofits, you're going to type in the name of your church. It's going to pull it up for you. It's going to show the number, ID number, everything that you need. And you're going to want to keep that and make it part of your tax records. Okay, because for every deduction, you are going to want to track it and make sure that you have audit proof. So take the church number so that you know your church, or even if you're not going to your church, even if you go someplace else that is a nonprofit, get that number and make it part of your tax files. Okay, so now you know you're getting 14 cents. Now you verify that the organization that you're with or your church is in fact has nonprofit status so that you can claim this deduction. And now you want to be very, very clear as to the type of service work that qualifies for this mileage allowance. So, for example, if you are an usher, if you sing in the choir, if you run the AV, if you are there because you set up the chairs, because you break things down, because you run the bake sale, because you teach the children's Bible studies, any of those things that you do for your church that you are not paid for qualifies you for the service deduction. Okay, so if you are, if you're the pastor, or if you're doing something that the church pays you for, then it doesn't qualify. This deduction would not qualify for you. However, if you are volunteering, then of course, this deduction includes if your pastor is going to be a guest at another church and you all drive there. Okay, if you are all driving to church functions, picnics, gatherings, any types of holiday events, anywhere you're going, you want to track the funds for this deduction. So now it should be very clear to you whether or not you qualify. So if you're volunteering for your church, right, your church is a legitimate nonprofit and you were able to verify its tax number, and you know that you can get 14 cents per mile. So let's figure this out and take a look at how this is going to, one of many legal deductions that you can take that's going to bring down your taxable income. So go over to Google Maps, and I want you to route your trip to church, right? Or you can put it in your phone, and whatever you have. So you're going to put your address in and the distance, your church address, and get the distance to church. So we're going to estimate that church is 18 miles away, right? So you're going to go there, come back. That's 36 miles every time you make a trip to church. And say you go twice a week, Bible study during the week on Wednesdays, and then you go on Sundays. So you are driving 72 miles every single week to church. So 72 miles, and there's 52 weeks in a year, and maybe 2 weeks out of the year you don't go for whatever reason. So we're going to just estimate at 50 weeks. So 72 miles times 50 weeks, that is 3,600 miles that you drive to and from church, not including special events, special occasions, and going to other churches, right? If you take that 3,600 miles and you multiply it by 14 cents, that gives you a deduction of $504. So if you're at 60 grand a year, right, you just took 500 of that 60 grand that is no longer taxable. And when you apply this type of strategy, there are a lot of other deductions, legal deductions that you can take that are very, very easy to track so that you have audit proof, right? Because this is just one simple piece of paper, maybe even a screenshot with the mileage, your church ID number, and your attendance days in a file. That's all that you need. And now you've reduced your taxable income by $500 with this one technique alone. So now you're increasing your cash flow by going to church. So I hope that you found some value in this. If you do, please let me know. Send me a message. This post is on the fan page. Let me know what your experiences are. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them. I really, really appreciate you allowing me to be part of your journey to financial freedom. And I will see you again next Friday.
LaMeel Radio. Empowerment radio for women, by women.